so my guest today is Ninoshev, investor, father of two, born in Bulgaria, came across to the UK in 2013 with just a suitcase. He has been investing in property, built several businesses, and helped others create long-term wealth. He also believes deeply in legacy and generational change and doing things differently. So welcome, Niko.
Thank you, Isabel. Really happy to be here and thank you for the invite.
Oh, that's lovely. And you're our very first guest actually on Series 27, so special thanks for that. That's
Thank
absolutely
you.
brilliant. So I've got a few questions for you around mindset and money, if you don't mind. And I just thought I'd
Of
start with
course, of
what
course.
what sort of messages did you get about money and work when you were growing up?
Oh, you're taking me into the deep straight away then.
Deep
Well,
dive.
yes. So I grew up in a world where money was functional, not aspirational.
Right.
It was never about building wealth or dreaming big. It was more about getting by, paying the bills, keeping the lights on. And work wasn't something you choose based on joy or purpose. It was what you did because you had to. It
Yeah.
was like a necessity. So in my house, there was no financial literacy as such. There was obviously, my parents were not bad educated, but we weren't talking about compound interest over dinner. Let me put it that way. So there was no mention of assets or entrepreneurship, investing. The conversation around money was more like turn that light off, it's wasting electricity,
Yeah.
or don't ask for new trainers, your old ones still fit. And it's not that my parents didn't care, far from it. They were doing their best with what they knew. My dad was grafted, the kind of man who thought being a good father means never taking a sick day.
Oh,
And probably there is an honor in that, yeah. But there's pride, but also it's kind of a trap. Because if you grow up thinking hard work alone is the answer, you miss out on the power of strategy, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
So I think the message that I absorbed without anyone obviously saying it outright was be grateful for what you have, keep your head down, don't take risks, don't want too much, because wanting more was almost seen as maybe greedy
Oh, really?
and
Mm.
yeah, or unrealistic. Let's put it that way, unrealistic.
Yeah.
And with time, I hit my 20s and I kind of started to realize that some people weren't working harder. They were just working smarter and they were not better than my dad. No way. They weren't more noble than my dad, but they had access to information, conversations, mentorship. It was just a different model.
Oh,
And
wow. So,
that's when that's when I started to see the gap. I wasn't exactly sure what am I seeing, but it was not the gap between the rich and the poor. It was
so
more between the taught and the untaught.
yeah. And so were you still in Bulgaria at that point?
Oh yeah, yeah, still in
Wow.
Bulgaria at that point.
Okay. Yeah, because that was my
And
next question.
so,
When did you start to want to change and think about the status quo maybe
well,
changing for the better?
yes, well, just a bit more on that topic, because
Sure.
now when I look at my kids, I think, what messages are they absorbing for themselves from me? Am I just telling them to be hardworking, or am I showing them actually how to be strategic?
Yeah.
Am I telling them to save money or showing them how to grow it? So, yes, I'm telling them to save money, but not save them and put them in the bank,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Because the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you don't rise to your intentions. You rise to the level of your environment. And my environment as a kid, it was small, safe, predictable, and my job now is to give my kids something different.
Yeah, fantastic. And what have you noticed about their attitude to this journey?
Hmm, they're kind of a different age. So my little one is 6 and the big one is 16.
Ah,
The little
okay.
one is absorbing it really well.
Yeah.
And the big one, he's more at that age. Uh, it's the age where your hormones get the better of you. So I don't want to pressure him. I don't want to push him. He sees things, he listens to things,
Yeah,
but he just kind of chooses to go his own way.
sure.
In
But
in a
he's still
sense,
absorbing the lessons, I'm sure.
yes, he's
Yeah,
absorbing the general lessons,
yeah.
and he's helping me. He's helping me with social media. He's doing some tasks. I'm
Oh,
outsourcing some tasks
fabulous.
to him. But he's at that age where I don't want to put pressure on him. I don't want to give him a deal analyzer, for example, and tell him, okay, you're going to analyze deals all day. You're going to
Yeah,
start ringing estate agents. You're going to start negotiating deals. No.
no,
So I want to leave him for a bit, for just that age, that late teenage to pass. And then I'm pretty sure he's going to start getting more and more involved.
100%. I think that's a wise thing to do, actually, because if you try and force it on him, he'll go the opposite direction, won't he?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you could pass on one mindset shift to the next generation, not just your boys, but sort of generally, what would that be regards money and legacy
Oof.
and wealth?
The only one, and if I can say like really in short, that will be think big. Definitely
Oh,
think
wow.
big.
Yeah,
So don't settle with less, don't settle with little, think big.
yeah.
If I can give an example with property, I hear a lot of people say, I'm gonna buy 4, 5 properties, that's gonna make me 2 grand a month, I'm gonna live happily, I don't need any more. No, especially my kids, I don't want them to think that way. I want them to think big and not to settle with little, not
Yeah,
to settle with, okay, that's enough. Well,
sure.
yes, it's enough, but I want their mindset to switch on and go to, okay, I've reached this level. How am I going to reach the next level? How
Mm.
am I going to take the next step? Don't think that this step is the final step. Keep
Yeah,
going forward. Keep climbing that ladder.
fabulous.
And if you want me to expand, uh, it will be you don't have to trade time for money forever
Mm.
because that's what we're conditioned to believe, aren't we? Work hard,
Yeah,
maybe retire if you're lucky, but that is a trap. It
it
keeps you
is.
in motion, but not in control. And the moment I realized that money could come in without me being present, physically going to work at a place of work or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's an office, a driving job, or anything else, it just broke my brain. Why? Wait, is this actually real? Is this actually happening? So you buy a property, you set up systems, you invest once, and it just keeps working for you. So that shift changes everything because now your time become a choice, not a currency. Because in employment, your time is only a currency which you trade for another currency, which is your wage.
Yeah. So how old were
And
you when
yeah,
you felt that shift about the passive income?
well, to be fair, the whole passive income stuff, it was not like an immediate shift. It came on gradually.
Okay.
So for me, shift wasn't something dramatic
Oh,
or some
okay.
dramatic movie moment. It was a slow
Yeah.
burn, more like an itch that won't go away.
Yes.
Feeling, feeling it deeply that there is more than this,
Yeah.
more than the grind, more than waiting for Fridays, dreading the Mondays, measuring life in annual leave days. But if I have to name a real turning point, it would be when I become a dad for the second time.
Ah, okay.
So holding Michael for the first time. Obviously, my other son Ivan, he was already 10 years old. For him, things were a bit different. He had to change the environment because he came to the UK about when he was 7 or 8. So it was a big
Oh, wow.
changing moment for him as well.
That's it.
It was kind of a tough transition in the first 9 to 12 months. And when Mike came, so everything went quiet, and I felt this mix of joy and responsibility, like heavy responsibility. Okay, now I've got a family and 2 kids, and it came fear. So, okay, now I need to provide, but what if I can't? What's going to happen if I can't provide? What kind of world I am going to prepare for them, and what kind of wife I'm going to model for them? Because at the time I was working full time, exhausted, stressed, reactive, and the deeper truth, I didn't want them to inherit that rhythm, always chasing, never
Yeah.
resting. I didn't want to be the father who was always in the room but never present.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, yeah?
Yeah, that's massive, isn't
And
it?
that was
Mm.
when I started looking into passive income as such. So we already had built, me and my wife, a cleaning company. We used to do domestic and office cleaning. The time Mike was born in 2019, that company has developed. We had 7 or 8 employees full time. So it was doing really
Yeah,
well.
amazing. Really good.
But at some point, at the end of 2019, COVID hit, like December, January
Yes, I remember.
2020,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
COVID hit, yeah. And immediately after that, Brexit hit. We actually withdrew from the European Union.
Yes.
And that created the perfect storm. The company was at its peak, and we just predicted there will be a rapid decline. So we decided immediately we're going to sell the company while we still can. So we sold
Yeah.
it. We developed the business. We didn't want to do it, but we had to do it. Otherwise, we were going to lose it. And I started doing other things. So I started thinking of way of a passive income where I'm not actually involved, more like doing stuff from home. So I started like every other person watching YouTube, internet, and stuff like that. You can't start a business while not the business that I was looking for in the middle of COVID, in the middle of 2020. You were in and out of lockdowns, you don't know what's going on. So I started going online. Actually, that is the time when Zoom hit.
Oh, didn't it?
And
Yeah,
yeah,
huge,
yeah,
wasn't it?
because we
Yeah.
used to go into the office for meetings. We
Yeah.
didn't do meetings over Zoom. So everyone was doing everything online. So I started looking at drop shipping. I did that for a while. I did not profit from it as such. However, it made me realize and experience something. Dropshipping is about sourcing products from China or somewhere else
Yeah.
and selling them on to someone else, to the end consumer. And I was the person in the middle. And that made me realize, okay, if I can do this on such a small scale, buying 2 pounds things from China,
Yeah.
being the middleman selling them for 5 pounds there, say in the UK or in the US, I can do this, but on a big scale. I can do it with property. I can do it with houses. I can buy a house or find a house cheap and source it, being the man in the middle, to an investor that got the money but don't have the time.
Brilliant switch. Yeah, love that.
So this is where it started in my head. And obviously I started the late nights learning, early mornings reading, little by little. It wasn't cool, but it was actually real. And over time, that tiny whisper that I had in my head, I can do this on a big scale, I just need to figure out how, became a big shout. Because you are allowed to want freedom, aren't you? And you're
Yes.
allowed to build something better. And obviously, then I met Jamie York, who you know very well,
Yes.
and that turned my life around completely. It just changed everything. This is when everything came together. Okay, this is what I want to do. I've got this and this experience, even from my previous job. So I've got experience in management from managing the cleaning company. I've got experience in being the middleman,
Yes,
dealing with
transferable
sellers, dealing
skills.
with
Yeah,
buyers. And on top of that, I used to work as a delivery driver, and especially like a courier, like parcel driver. And I know my area really well. I know every street, every postcode, every house, everything. I know which areas are good for investment. I know which areas are bad for investment. I
yeah,
know the demographics. I know it all. And it just hit me, yes, this is the thing,
yeah.
and this is the right man to be mentoring me. So, yeah, and
Fabulous.
it's kind of the time just little bit after that is when we met,
Yes.
you and me, so we got to know each other. And yeah, that's
Mm.
how property started.
Yeah. Oh, exciting journey and really interesting to hear that evolution. And I know something that is quite close to your heart is the lack of education around money and so on with young children and older children in school. The lack of financial literacy is quite shocking. I heard the other day that somebody hadn't known at 35 that they had to pay council tax when they bought a new property. They had no
Yeah.
idea. I mean, that's almost tragic, isn't it? It's funny, but it's like, crikey, didn't know you had to budget for that. So, yeah, what would your steers be if you were in school trying to prepare kids for that financial awareness?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not a teacher, definitely not. I'm not fit for a school teacher. I can tell you that, guaranteed. I'm quite impulsive, and it's definitely not for me. And I'm also not the person that's going to try and create legislation and tell legislators what needs to be done. However, in school, they teach you to follow instructions, pass exams,
Yeah.
memorize facts, but they don't teach you how to manage money, how to create money, how to protect money. Not a word. You leave school knowing what's it called, a quadratic formula,
Oh, yes.
but not how to read a bank
Algebra.
statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Shakespeare, which is good, but you don't know the difference between an asset and a liability.
No.
This is mad. So what happens? People enter adulthood with no clue on how to negotiate rent, how to build credit, how to invest, how to budget. And then we wonder why so many feel lost, anxious, and behind at the age of 21. Schools, the curriculum is made in such a way that we can't blame the teachers, because teachers are their job depends on them following the curriculum that's being given to
They're
them
also
by the
doing as they're
government.
told.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely not the
Yeah.
teacher's fault. The fault lies with successive governments failing to provide and to prepare our kids for their adulthood.
Yeah.
Okay, they want to prepare them for employment, that's fine. Why don't they, if they want to prepare them for employment, put in the curriculum how to negotiate a salary or a wage? That's one. Why
Yeah.
don't they teach them how to read a payslip? A simple payslip.
Yeah.
I know people in their 40s, they don't know what the deductions on their payslip mean.
Oh, really? That's
And there's
shocking.
so many of them. This is absolute madness. And I understand that, again, it's not the teacher's fault. However, this is an outdated system.
Yeah.
Times are changing, and
Yes,
they're
I was just going to
changing
say, especially
fast.
nowadays with AI
Yes,
and all the innovations and software.
of course. Times are
And
changing really fast.
yeah,
And we need to adapt to this. The schools need to adapt. The curriculum needs to
yeah,
adapt to this. And the system is stuck in the past. Preparing kids for the
yes.
job market, that's already crumbling. The job
Yeah.
market now is nothing like it used to be 20, 30 years
No,
ago.
it really isn't. Even 15 years ago.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we've got to bring these conversations home. Because I can't change the legislation or the government agenda. I'm not even going to try to do this. I can speak about it, people can make their own minds. Am I right? Am I wrong? Everyone's got an opinion on this.
Yeah.
But I am trying to take this different way of education home, not with pressure, but with curiosity. That critical thinking, this is something that it's not really common in schools these days.
No.
I want my kids to see how I pay bills. My eldest one, he knows every single bill in the house
Oh, wow, does he?
because, yeah,
That's
he's
impressive.
16 and he pays one of the bills, and that's his phone bill and his contract.
That makes it
Yeah.
real.
When he starts earning a bit more, the next thing he's going to start paying is the internet. Just so he can get used to that. Our council tax bill is right next to the magnets on the fridge. One, because we always misplace the damn letter and we can't go in the shop and pay for it. That's one thing. And the other thing is to remind us that actually there's a bill. But the third thing is for the kids to go past it all the time, and it kind of reminds them that there is more to everything, and there is a real life and real
Yeah.
bills waiting for you. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are, you still need to know how to at least set up the direct debit,
Yes.
if
Yes.
nothing
And you need to have
else.
an awareness of what things cost.
Yes,
I
and
mean, when I was growing
that
up, it was money doesn't grow on trees. That was one of the most often
absolutely,
repeated
I had that.
sayings.
This what? Yes. So
Yeah.
when they see that council tax bill, the next thing we need to talk about is income. So
Yeah.
it just the conversation naturally goes to income. Kids need to understand that money is not a taboo subject. It's just a tool. And
Yes.
if they learn how to use the money at a young age, they won't be spending decades learning the
Yeah.
myths that we had to. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah, that's really important. And not robbing Peter to pay Paul and balancing the books and all this sort of thing is really critical.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes, yes.
So from that, what does legacy look like for you now? And does it differ from what it was years ago? So the legacy you might leave your sons.
Definitely different. It was a complete mind shift change. So legacy used to be a very distant concept for me.
Mm.
Something you worry about when you're old, like
Later.
a
Yeah.
will, yeah, a piece of
Yeah.
paper, a will that stays with your solicitor, something you leave after you're gone. But over time, especially after becoming a dad, I realized that legacy isn't what you leave, it's what you live. It's the way your kids remember your voice, the way you made decisions, the way you treated people when the pressure was on. It's what they saw you do when no one was watching.
Yeah.
So that shift changed everything for me because now I see every moment as a legacy move, not in some heavy perfectionist way, but in a real day-to-day way.
Yeah.
If I show up kind, consistent, brave, yes, that's legacy. If I teach them how to handle failure, that's legacy. If I love them out loud, that's legacy. So yeah, I'm building assets, but I'm also building memories and character and
Yeah.
belief systems. Because I don't want my kids to say, well, dad left me a house. I
No,
want
I
them
think
to
you're right.
say,
I
yeah,
think
dad
that's
showed me how to build one and how
yeah.
to be a good man while doing it.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant that you've realised that. I mean, my parents have both passed away now, and the legacy from them is often, oh yeah, dad said this or mum said that. And it's really, really good stuff that at the time I didn't realise how good it was. But, all these years later, I'm still living by those codes that they set up. So very
But
interesting.
yes, but those codes, yes, we all have codes from our parents that they
Yeah,
used to live at. Probably they've been passed on to them by their parents, and they
yeah.
were valid points, but for that time,
Yeah,
not
you
for
have
the
to be
present.
wary, yes, with certain things.
Yes, because you can hear a lot of, even in my country of origin in Bulgaria, we've got a lot of fables, we've got a lot of codes that we live by.
Yeah,
But if you think about it, like deeply think about it, you will see that most of them are really outdated.
Ah, right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You just
Yes. I
need
mean,
just
some do
need the
translate, don't they? And others don't. I guess it's
yes,
sifting
yes.
through.
And the ones that translate, some of them might need a bit of a
Bit of a
tweak.
tweak. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you were to advise somebody now, say in their middle years, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, that wanted to get into building a portfolio, creating a legacy, that sort of thing, what would you say would be their best first steps?
Well, first steps is it's not too late. It's never too late because when you're in your 30s and in your 40s, you still got, if you haven't started yet, you still have that drive, that motivation.
Yeah,
If you got kids, they're still young, so you still have that motivation to push forward,
sure.
to go for the entrepreneurial stuff. But when you're in your 50s, in your 60s, some people think that it's already too late. And that narrative that you've missed your shot, that's absolute lie. You've just been in a different chapter. You're just going on a different timeline. And now is the exact time where you can turn the page. I've seen people start in their 50s with absolutely nothing. And within 4 to 5 years, they've built income, confidence, and momentum. And
Wow.
not just because they've worked hard, kind of because they worked smart,
Yeah.
but mostly because they let go of the shame. They stopped trying to catch up and started building forward and
Okay.
didn't give up. So what the key is, start small, but start with intent and with a goal and with a purpose. Don't try to do it all overnight. It's not going to happen overnight.
Okay.
Buy one property, take one course, find a mentor, join a community, partner with someone younger if you've got capital, and if you're scared of technology and IT, because obviously if you want to get really involved in property, you're going to need that tiny little bit of technological knowledge. Not to mention that tax is going completely digital, fully digital for everyone. It doesn't matter if the property is your own name, in your company name. If you're paying tax and you're not an employee where your employer calculates the tax, does the deductions and put them on your pay slip, you need to do it all digitally. So if you're petrified of using technology, that's fine. Find someone, maybe in a community, just find someone, partner with them, and use your age as an asset. Because you've got the wisdom, you've got the network, you've been living 50, 60 years, and you've got the wisdom and intuition and the network that comes with age and with just living. So above all, don't let regret hold the pen. Let vision write your next chapter.
I
Because
love
the
that.
best stories, they don't start perfect. The best stories start on purpose. So it's not about when you're gonna start. It's about whether you start at all. And you're
Yeah.
never too late. You're right on time as long as you begin. And to finish with this on this specific question, do you remember Jamie York
Yeah.
saying about his oldest mentee, which was somewhere in his mid 80s?
Oh,
He was
really?
like
Oh, I didn't know that story.
83 or 84. Yeah, at
Incredible.
the age of 83 or
That's
84,
amazing.
that guy started learning and educating himself about
Fabulous.
investing in property without ever having to invest
Yeah.
in his lifetime.
That's
So
amazing. I mean, people are
start
living
early.
so much longer now, aren't they? So it seems silly to write yourself off at 50 when you might concede another 45 years. Time to start another career or two, even, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely,
That's great
absolutely.
advice. I love that.
Totally agree.
And one thing I realised that I didn't touch on right at the beginning when I was introducing
Yeah.
you is that you were a sommelier some while
Oh,
back. Was that in the
yes.
UK?
No, no, that was in Bulgaria.
Ah,
So
okay.
when I graduated college, then I went to uni, and in uni I had several different options. but the one I chose was management in the tourism in that sector.
Okay.
So after I graduated, I started building my way up, and I found a really interesting job in the Wine Museum of Bulgaria. So what happened was I started as a tour guide, and really quickly I became the curator of the museum, like the manager of the museum and the lead wine taster. So we were doing wine tasting sessions, sometimes 4 or 5 sessions a day. So I had to go home in a cab because I wasn't fit for
I think you
driving.
fit it out, aren't you?
Yes, so I did that for a couple of years. Then, in the meantime, I really wanted to educate myself about wine because I was starting to work in the
Yeah.
wine industry, but I didn't know much. I knew a lot
Yeah.
about history because I'm a history man. I know a lot about the old history of the Balkan Peninsula, the Balkans, and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
I know a
Interesting.
lot about that. Like we're talking thousands of years BC. However, I knew about the wine culture of the old Greeks, the Roman people, but I didn't know much about modern day wine. And I started educating myself on this. So I went to a lot of conferences. I was representing at one point Bulgaria twice in the European Parliament, talking about the history of the wine, especially in the southern parts of Bulgaria.
Oh, okay.
And after that, I moved on to being a manager to a five-star restaurant.
Mhm.
And I was the leading sommelier and wine taster of that restaurant as well. But for my own reasons, which I'm not going to bother people on this podcast, I just got really frustrated with not my job, but my country. So I just left. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just packed my whole life in a suitcase and came to
And
the
that's
UK.
that's when things all started to change. So you've gone from
Yes, yeah.
sommelier to strategist, and I love that because it's like a full circle.
To be fair, I went from sommelier to a delivery. That's how it started for me in the UK. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then I used to work in UPS, Amazon, and it's just that transition period. It was not tough. It was okay, but I just wanted to switch from just wearing formal clothes all day to
Yeah.
wearing cargo pants.
Yes, of
And I
course.
didn't mind it because I was so disappointed with the things that were happening in my country that I just couldn't care less what I'm gonna do as long as I'm away from there.
Ah,
So yeah, that's how it started. It
and then from there
evolved
you've
to
built.
yes,
Amazing.
and
Oh, it's
evolved to
amazing. Oh, it's been brilliant talking to you. Thank you for sharing so openly everything that you've done, your
of course, no
thoughts. Really,
problem.
really helpful as well for people thinking about investing and legacy. It's just really thought-provoking. So thank you so much for
Absolutely.
being my very first guest on Series 27.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you
Take
for the
care.
invite. I wish you all the best with the podcast, and I
Thank
am pretty
you.
sure it's gonna grow big. So, yeah, you're doing a great job. Keep pushing, and we'll speak again soon.
We'll speak soon then. You take care. Thank you. Thanks so
Take
much.
care. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.